Michael's really going to be late today, huh?
Who's that?
Hi, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Going into a game like this, you always had the motivational component. This is a team that knocked you out last year. How do you weigh and balance that with just focusing on this game and it's about execution in this game? And I mean, do you want to bring the two together, or how do you go about it?
Not really. I mean, we're definitely aware of it. Obviously, we have spent time on that. We refer to it as as a sacred wound. As far as our past, I'm going back to off-season program. I'm going back to training camp. Beginning of the season, but this is about playoff football. We've been watching the tape all week, so I mean, obviously, our last game is part of the cut-ups. Because there's a lot of matchups in there that existed last year. So now we're just really focused, and I think clearly the short week puts you even stronger into this mindset. We're going to Santa Clara, in the environment we're getting ready to play in, and we know we need to get in there and get going immediately because this is a team that's played extremely well throughout the last 12 weeks. So that's where our mindset is.
And with the different quarterback and McCaffrey added to the mix now offensively, how different are they from the team that you faced in the postseason?
I mean, you can make a case clearly. I think they're a better team than they were last year. I mean, coming into the postseason, and I think we're clearly a better team than we were at this point last year. And I'm not going statistically. I'm referring more to our complementary football balance. I think our football team, we've been able to win games in all three phases. Definitely put ourselves in position to win games. So, and I think that's a huge asset for ourselves.
Quantico, 4-Star Telegram. Did you see enough from Brett yesterday to regain confidence in him?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, Brett has the ball. I mean, we're ready to go. So, yeah, we're getting ready here, and today is a normal Friday, so we're on a normal schedule here down the stretch. So, we'll have our mock game here at 11:30, and so we're rocking and rolling.
Mike Todd, Archer with ESPN. What do you expect Curse to be able to do? I know he's listed as limited, but we didn't see him in uniform out when we were out there.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's in it. He's in everything. So this is a day where the communication part of it is key, and he'll be part of that.
And then a follow-up. Last week we saw Anthony Brown at the game.
Yeah.
How's your?
Ed, is that you, Ed? Do we need to stop? Oh, okay.
How do you involve those guys, or why is it important to involve those guys?
Well, I mean, Anthony's at a point, in his rehab, and definitely we want all of our guys to be part of it. Just seeing Jordan Lewis this morning, Terrence Still. So, those guys are here every day. I mean, they're in the training room. So, when they're able to travel, they get to that point in the rehab. We definitely want those guys to be part of it.
Why is that important to have those guys around?
Why is it important? They're part of our team. I mean, they're part of the brotherhood. They have just as much invested into this as we do.
Like it. Ed Werder, ESPN. On top of the disparity that you have between prep time and recovery time between these two teams, you're playing your fourth consecutive road game. How do you make sure your team's not fatigued, and what things does just being in a playoff game like this with your season on the line, is that enough to overcome any of those concerns?
I don't see that as an issue. I think, frankly, the regular season prepares you for this. So I don't think anybody has, the type of, travel demand. And I shouldn't say that. I bet we're in the upper echelon probably of travel and, scheduling. So, I mean, this is my second time, through this. I think last year was the first, real, season as far as, getting your scheduling right and so forth. So, yeah, we're in a position now where this is a normal Friday for us. We're recovered, and so our schedule versus your schedule will play bearing on this game.
Mike Fisher, Fan Nation, Sports Illustrated. Earlier this year, you got ready to play the Rams. It was brought up to you that you were underdogs in that game. You coined the phrase "we're nobody's underdogs." Your thoughts on what the odds makers say this week?
Well, we'll just stick with that. It worked. So, it's, yeah. I mean, I think we all like the fact that, people are doubting you. I think that's part of human nature. I think it's part of the dynamics of each and every one of us. So we all come from somewhere, but yeah, we're very comfortable in this position. Very comfortable. We clearly go there. We're clearly going there expecting to win. So just make no bones about that. Regardless of and I understand they have a job to do too. But we know the type of environment we're getting ready to go into. I mean, it's going to be a great environment. To be a huge challenge. We're counting on the Dallas Cowboy fans to show up. We know they will. But we're playing a tremendous football team. And we're in tune with that, and we know the way we need to play and what we need to do to win a game.
Mike Drury at Yahoo Sports. Dan was talking with us this morning about how he and Kyle each believe in using players in different versatile positions, running backs as receivers, linebackers, safeties, etc. How much has Dan's philosophy on the versatility of his players helped y'all's defense?
Well, I mean, that's who we are. I mean, I think just like anything. I mean, if you could look behind the curtain and just see the conversations of who's going to be on the 48, and that's just the in-season conversations. You go back to the off-season program, and you're sitting there going through free agency, and how's this guy fit? And versatility is huge because you have 48 players, and when you have guys that are just locked into can only play one position. The one thing that I talk about a lot in player acquisition is everybody has to do two things. Whether you're obviously if you're a specialist or a quarterback, but the diversity of your football team is critical. That starts in player evaluation. So and then now you get into scheme design and how you're building your philosophy. And I think Dan does an outstanding job in that area. And I think if you just want to look at our safeties alone, I mean the flexibility that our safety group gives us is obviously will be a big part of how we go after the 49ers. So, and they do a great job of it too. I mean, you got players that can, you got multiple players that can play in the backfield and also play all three positions in the wide receiver slots. So, yes, this will definitely be a part of the battle, part of the challenge of versatility on both their offense and our defense.
Mike McCarthy, what conversation do you have with Dan about handling the Denver interview and getting ready for this game, and the trust you have in him to be focused on this?
I mean, Dan Quinn's the ultimate professional, so I have zero concerns. I'm obviously in tune with everything that's going on with him and Kellen and their both those guys' preparation, work ethic, time commitment has been beyond what we need to make sure we're ready for the game.
Hey. Oh, sorry.
Calvin.
Sorry, babe. Tab? What do you want? Go, babe. You go. Craig Balkner, Cowboys Radio. And going back and looking at last year's game and C.D. Lamb, and he was singled up, a number of times he struggled. When you look at that guy compared to the C.D. Lamb we see today, how far has he progressed?
Well, I just think number one, I mean, he's definitely taken another jump in his personal development, but I think really the opportunities and how he's being utilized, and our passing game's not the same, as it was last year, and I think that's part of evolving each and every year, and I think clearly where he is positioned, this year is clearly different than last year. But I think the biggest thing out of watching last year's game, I know from our perspective, was it's really good to watch the personnel matchups, but I think schematically they've changed some too, as far as their numbers and what they're where they're tilting things to. But I mean they are who they are, as far as what they believe in. So, but yeah, I would think CD would definitely get a lot more attention this year. I mean, just like he has been all year. But that's part of the scheme challenge, and I know he's looking forward to it.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You always talk about trying to get to the 48 is a hard job every week, but that interior defensive line, how good was that group last week? And I don't know if you want to be set with that group that you had.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was really good. I think I think Jonathan played it at a really high level. I think our linebackers were able to scrape and fill their gaps quickly. That's a big part of it. So I mean, we're going to be tested. That'll be the primary focal point when they step on the field offensively. So we know that going in, and our run defense needs to be huge, and most importantly, we need to tackle. This is a game where our tackling has to be at its best, and just like anything, when you're tackling your best, it's the finish and the pursuit of your defense is a huge factor in that. So our ability to run to the football and tackle will be a big part of our success.
Mike, Haley Sutton, DallasCowboys.com. Avion Collins, excuse me, has a brand, linemen lead the way. And I was just wondering if you could maybe describe what that phrase means to you, especially given the resilience that your offensive line has had to have this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's AC has earned so much love on so many different levels. I think he is such a bright spot in our locker room, has a tremendously bright light. And I'm not just talking about off the field as what you're referring to, but is a very well respected man in our locker room. His passion, he wears it on his sleeve. The family, charity is so important to him, and I just think it speaks volumes about when he, brought this forward, how the linemen and everybody just rallied around him. So, AC is definitely one of the locker room favorites.
Anybody else? Nope.
All right, thank you.